And Jared Chinoy, the senior from Fort Lauderdale. North Carolina may have a first-team All-American in Brady Wambach, who wins the opening draw for the Tar Heels. UNC back in the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2021, when they made a run to championship weekend. They might be the seeded team, but Richmond, Quint, has been a popular upset pick for a lot of the prognosticators.
Joe Bresci, head coach of North Carolina, using that this week as motivation for his Tar Heels, saying everybody's picking Richmond.
That one goes off the stick. And Tommy Stull picks it up. One thing Richmond has done so well, they cause turnovers, amongst the nation's best in that category. After Ty English coughed it up, and now the Spiders go on attack. As Quint mentioned, 8 straight wins. This is Dan Shamati's best team that he's had in 12 seasons. A senior class that he said is on a mission. 7 in red is Joe Sheridan. He was the MVP of the A-10 championship. Serpents around the crease. Carolina led by its no-name defense. Prohashka, Ashheim, and Salucci never started a game before this year, but it's been one of the top units. Good look here. Littlejohn save. Michael Gianfrancaro, the Princeton transfer, gets the first big save of this game. And now Carolina will set up the clear.
Richmond known for their ability to feed the inside crease area, and that was a gorgeous skip pass and a good start for Gio between the pipes for the Tar Heels. Gio has not been hot lately, and that maybe triggers him in the right direction.
Carolina goes to work on offense. James Matten, 7 in white, defended by Mitchell Dunham. Was chosen in the 3rd round of the PLL draft on Tuesday, 17 in red. Now Ryan Levy, 14 in white. He'll be shooting on his childhood friend, Zach Vigue, today. Owen Duffy just 1 for his last 23, defended by Hunter Smith, using the pick. His pass tipped. Richmond's so good in those passing lanes. And Quint, one thing they do well, they don't give up a ton of shots. Now a transition opportunity the other way. 5 in red is the quarterback of the offense, Aiden O'Neill, A-10 Offensive Player of the Year.
Tell you, they recognize tempo really well, Anish, this team in red. When it's there and they want to run, they go for it. They're aggressive. They'll also play it in the sub game, as you see right now. But then once they're in their settled sets, I would label them as being extremely patient. They're not afraid to go deep into the shot clock.
Second midfield on, Alpaw 13, Picard 11, and Gavin Creo in invert option number 10. Here's Picard, his shot stopped. Gianfrancaro 2 for 2, quick outlet up ahead. Carolina still looking for its first shot. Here comes Matten toward the crease, and the Tar Heels, I believe, are on the board. They are. The goal counts. Matten stayed out of the crease, and it's 1-0 UNC.
Goalie Michael Gianfrancaro, 2 saves, and that triggers the fast break. Joe Bresci, Carolina head coach, saying, we must play our best game of the year. We must turn up the heat. He wants to make this a track meet. He told us we have to run. And there it is. They find a way to score in a non-6-on-6 set.
And the second piece of that, Quint, faceoffs. Carolina feels they have to put pressure on Zach Vigue. He only makes 8 saves per game. It's a defense that limits shots. Make it, take it, Lacrosse. Winning faceoffs is a big part of the winning cocktail today for UNC. And Carolina wins another faceoff. Barton off the ground, plays it back to Gianfrancaro.
I like their energy. The Heels are playing with energy. They did not have that in Charlotte in the ACC semifinal game. They came off the bus and they were flat as a pancake in that game.
Now Richmond with the ride. They win it back. So Carolina won the faceoff. Richmond gets it back and promptly turns it over.
If you're Carolina, you want to avoid clearing the ball up the far side of the field. That's where the substitution box is. Bring it up this near side. Carmichael Arena behind us. Clear towards the Carmichael side.
Carolina clears at 90%. There's another tip pass, and that goes out of bounds. It will stay with North Carolina. Lucas Littlejohn got his stick on it. Richmond telling us before the game they practiced that, getting their sticks in passing lanes. It's a big point of emphasis, and it's something they do exceptionally well.
Paul Richards, defensive coordinator. Trios of defenders will play monkey in the middle, basically.
Here comes the freshman, Caden Harshbarger. Ty English, spinning, cycloning, dumps it toward the crease. Duffy will try to track it down. Hunter Smith in pursuit, out of bounds. It stays with UNC.
Well, here's the dilemma for North Carolina. If Owen Duffy's only practicing 30% of the week and Dom Petromala 50%, who else is going to step up?
That has been the question most of the season for Carolina. Who's the third musketeer? Duffy playing hangman, shot clock at 10. Shot clock now into single digits. Duffy against Smith, inside roll's not there. Vigu got a piece. It will stay with UNC on a shot out of bounds. Closest to the ball, where and when it goes out, awarded possession, and that also means it's a shot clock reset because the goalie got a piece of it.
Huge break and great hustle by Carolina to win that run out. Now they get a fresh clock. This is disastrous for a tired defense.
Here comes English, trying to feed inside, intended for Harshbarger, a turnover, and Richmond gets it back.
You see the Spider defense, they like to pack it in. Number 2 rated scoring defense in the country. You'll see a man scheme, you'll see a zone scheme. When they're in their man scheme, they'll slide and double team from the crease. They are very buttoned up defensively.
4 turnovers already for North Carolina. Here comes Sheridan, a 4.0 student in molecular biology, 7 in red. Merklinger, 42 in red. He's their energy guy. A-10 midfielder of the year. When he scores, Dan Chamati says the team feeds off of it. O'Neal now defended by Ashheim. Over to the wing, shot by Olsen, stopped by Gianfrancaro, who's 3 for 3.
These are just good shots. They're not great shots. And it's got to be on the mind of head coach Dan Chamati. They're kind of settling right now.
Trouble with the clear. Madden's pass knocked down by Littlejohn again. And Richmond able to win it back. Unsettled opportunity. Richmond dumps it over. You can go over and back in the first 20 seconds of the shot clock. Merklinger off the scramble. On a bounce, O'Neal can't handle the pass. Vacuumed by Ashheim. So Richmond a little sloppy.
A little shaky, right? A little antsy with the ball. They're awesome on ground balls, Anish. These guys in red hustle, they scrap, and they can get loose balls. But they're not being judicious with the ball after the ground ball win.
Dan Chamati telling us this is the best ground ball team he has had. And he said that's the identity of the Spiders. That's who we are, the team that wins what appear to be those 50-50 ground balls.
Of all the stats, we asked him. I said, Coach, you have a really impressive stat sheet. What are you most proud of? Ground balls was the first thing he mentioned.
Yeah, Richmond, one of 2 teams in the field, top 10 in scoring offense and scoring defense, and coincidentally both on the road in round 1 because the other one is Notre Dame. Here's Brevin Wilson, freshman from Concord in North Carolina.
Man-to-man
got some shake.
Man-to-man defense will slide from the interior here. 17 is the hot man.
Cole Wertheim was a midfielder on that Cornell team that finished runner-up in 2022. Now Duffy, turn, shot, save, Vigu. Quint, what does that do? You get that first real save as a goalie in a tournament game?
Really, it's just like hockey. The sooner you can get that ball in your stick, the sooner you can make a clean save or get involved with the clear, the better.
Meanwhile, Richmond continues to be sloppy. Another turnover by the Spiders. They're second.
They got numbers, Carolina. It's a 5-on-4.
Levy slams on the brakes. Now Petromala, 77 in white. His dad, Dave, the defensive coordinator, your old teammate, one of the greatest defensemen of all time.
He was in typical pregame mode when we spoke to him about 45 minutes ago. Says he feels like he's got the flu every game day.
And he said he's felt that way for 30 years.
You know you're alive, right?
It's one way. Here comes English. Big weekend for his family. Brother Sam plays for Syracuse against Harvard tomorrow. Now Soucek, one in white, one of two freshmen on this first midfield line, along with the man who's got the ball now, Harshbarger. Both five-star recruits. They spin it back to X. Duffy to Soucek. Had some moments down the stretch. Tommy Stull, the senior captain, all over him. And again, shot clock winding down. Carolina almost went offside. Shot clock at 2. Duffy puts one on goal. Vigue wipers it away. And now Richmond will set up its clear. Carolina's ride against Richmond's clear. Something to watch today. Carolina's got a pretty good ride. Richmond number 2 in clearing. And again, the Spiders turn it over.
They just need to get to this first TV timeout down, with the score relatively respectable, down 1-0. This is a huge break for Richmond. They are in a funk in terms of handling the ball right now.
A timeout with 5:29.
And he played club ball with Jake and Owen Caputo. But when he was young, Zach went to a Duke-Richmond game in 2016. And that was the first time that Richmond stepped up and beat the big ACC school. Benny Pugh was the Richmond goalie back then. And Zach now today will try to cement his legacy as the goalie for potentially the greatest win in program history.
It would be the greatest win if they get it. He told us that Richmond-Duke game is what initially put Richmond on his radar. 10 minutes into this opening quarter, only one goal. Both teams have been a little sloppy. Duffy, feet in front. Matten, bounce shot, missed the cage. It comes to Wilson. Let's see if the timeout by Dan Shamati calmed this Richmond Spiders unit. Wilson feeding in front, perfectly executed, and it's Ryan Levy beating his good buddy Zach Vigue.
Carolina goes to the invert set off the stoppage. Brevin Wilson, you look at his jitterbug quickness, right to left, right to left. Levy mirrors him. So as Wilson comes towards the camera here, Levy cuts away from the sliding defender. He cuts to space. Ryan Levy, who grew up right here in Chapel Hill. His mom's the head coach of the North Carolina women's program, who plays tomorrow. And a good start off the timeout. Carolina strikes.
A big thing for Carolina. Can they get production from players other than Duffy and Petramala? The 2 goals so far from Matten and Levy. Wambach wins another faceoff. He is the nephew of the soccer great Abby Wambach. Mia Hamm, by the way,
teammates of Mia Hamm, right?
Is in attendance today, along with Nomar Garcia-Parra. We saw them earlier.
Crazy day on campus. Graduation, multiple schools, graduations.
And Mia Hamm's going to be the commencement speaker.
They're going to rope off Franklin Street tonight for you, Nish?
I'm heading home, but maybe for you. Petramala off the feed from Duffy. 8-7-7. Cash now.
Featured this combo in the open, and anytime 77 can set his feet without defensive interference and let it go, you might as well just turn and rake. That's goal number 46 on the season for the lefty from Baltimore, and here it is. He's got too much time and room. Dom Petramala from Duffy.
A 2-goal blitz in the span of 31 seconds. Petramala, 46 goals now on the season, tops in the ACC. Wambach won the faceoff, but gives it up. Quint, it's been a while since Richmond has had a possession that's translated to a shot.
Yeah, Wambach is going to be ultimately a major issue for Richmond to deal with. Their faceoff. They have not won a faceoff yet. They'll get this possession, but Wambach won the faceoff before he turned it over.
They only have 3 shots in this first quarter. This was a Richmond team that outshot its opponents 83-51 in the A-10 tournament over 2 games. On the season, they were plus 18 in shots per game. But this is a Carolina team late in the year. We saw UNC put up 59 shots in a win at Syracuse. Creo, a midfielder this year, ex-attackman last year.
No name or not, Anish. this Carolina defense can defend.
More sloppiness by Richmond. Littlejohn lost his balance. No flag. We will get a shot clock reset, though. Looks like a loose ball push. Richmond looking to get on the board.
It's a reset of the shot clock, which is key. Who can win a matchup for the Spiders?
O'Neill's been their alpha, working on Aschheim, using the pick. Aschheim stays with O'Neill. Snakes around the crease. Merklinger, a threat with either hand. Top midfielder in the A-10. Now Sheridan.
42 loves the rollback, and Carolina's sitting on that.
Sheridan wheels down the alley. Serpents behind the cage. In front, Littlejohn. Tar Heels all over him.
That's custody. Dave Petramala, their DC, told us pre-game, we have got to take custody of 27, Lucas Littlejohn. They had 2 sticks all over that feed. Great team defense. This no-name defense continues to overachieve.
No-name defense that has taken names. Now, Littlejohn puts 75% of his shots on cage, team leader in goals, and he's been the recipient of a lot of those crease feeds, and he usually finishes.
Richmond's matchups, they put Hunter Smith, their best cover man, on Duffy. They've got Michael Farrell covering Dom Petramala on the near left wing. He's their best off-ball player.
The winner of this game will likely get Cornell in the quarterfinals. Cornell plays Albany tomorrow. We're going to get a loose ball push.
You can't be doing that to the Great Danes. No penciling teams in.
Okay.
Haven't we learned that?
Yeah, we have.
Especially with the 2 seeds.
The history, though.
History of the 1s is pretty good. History of the 2s, not so much.
1 seed since the tournament expanded in 03. 21-0 in round 1.
It's pretty good.
Here comes Duffy. Draws the slide, skips it. Now Wilson. Over to Petramala, left hand, save, Figure, rebound loose. Petramala again, and sends that one too high. 1:03 to go in this opening quarter. The Tar Heels pitching a shutout.
Dom's velocity comes from the torque, but mostly from his wrists.
Ryan Levy will begin against Pilling. He was a midseason All-American, short stick D-Midi, 19 in red. I know how much you love midseason All-American lists.
As much as I love preseason All-American lists.
About a 5-second differential between game clock and shot clock. Levy's got one of the 3 Carolina goals. Working on Pilling. Sends it up top from the wing. Shot by Wilson. It's saved. Ball is loose. Final 15 seconds. Vigu has it.
Push it.
Pilling can't handle the pass. It rolls out of bounds.
Plenty of time for Carolina.
A chance for Carolina with 7.1.
It's a good save by Vigu. A low-to-low release. There was no change of level. He honored what he saw from the shooter, and he was telling us that 5-hole move straight down with his top hand.
Here comes Duffy. Final seconds. Duffy maneuvering. His pass knocked down. Petramala puts one on cage, and that got Smith on the leg as time expires. Richmond, only 3 shots in the opening 15 minutes.
Rochester area, student of the game. Quirky like some of the other Fogos, but man, this kid has been dominant.
He has played like a first-team All-American this season. He's 4 for 4 today. Richmond has had trouble just getting into its offense. A lot of turnovers. Wambach now 5 for 5. Absorbs the check from Chinoy.
You know, in such a evenly matched season, and you can make a strong case for Cornell. Like, specialist play in this tournament loom large in my eyes. I thought the ACC was a really good face-off conference this year. Wambach sliced and diced his way through it. The Big Ten, great goalies. Caleb Fyock, you'll see tomorrow against Notre Dame, noon on ESPN2. attack play, the Ivy League, goal scorers. So it's fascinating when you mix that all and have no idea what to expect.
English to Petramala, who whistles one off the brick wall. Petramala is not gun shy. He's 1 for 5 shooting, but he had a game against Syracuse this year. Started 0 for 9, ended up scoring 6 goals on 20 shots.
20 shots.
And Joe Bresci told us his message to Dom after he missed the first 9, keep shooting. Petramala behind the back off the Duffy feed. It'll stay with UNC.
He's getting his looks, and that bodes well for Carolina and for Dom. 7 times this year, Dom's got double-digit shots in a game.
Big shot advantage for UNC. Matten over to English, step down. And that one bounces wide. It's going to be Richmond ball, no backup for Carolina. 17 in red, Mitchell Dunham. 3rd nationally in caused turnovers. He was a 3rd-round pick of the Archers in the PLL draft earlier this week.
Yeah, big 17 on the inside. Let's see if Richmond can clear. This has been an area of strength this season. Today, it has been a point of weakness.
This might be another failed clear. It is. They did not get it across before the shot clock hit 60. Quint, Richmond is 3 for 8 clearing. They came into the game at 92%, 2nd nationally, behind only VMI.
And now they'll sit in their zone defense. They almost have to with the amount of time that they've been playing on defense. But to go from an area of team strength to now an Achilles heel in your playoff game, in the biggest game in program history, has got to be causing major headaches on their sideline.
And for Joe Bresci, this is the formula. Play fast, make it chaotic. Wertheim in trouble. Wilson tries to load a high. Boy, that got somebody. I think got Wilson too.
It got Michael Farrell right in the chest.
Farrell 48
he is
red.
Okay. That is serious business.
He's their off-ball guy. Shot clock reset.
Time of possession really swayed towards the heels. Zone defense now for Richmond.
Petramala from long range. Vigu the save.
But clean saves will help your clearing percentage.
8 in red to Charlie Packard, a 2-way player.
How easy was that? Clean saves dramatically help your clearing percentage. You're going to see that tonight with Duke. They struggled this year to clear. All of a sudden, Patrick Jamison starts making saves, and their clearing percentage has skyrocketed.
Quinn, how does Richmond get into some kind of offensive flow?
Well, Aiden O'Neill has been the catalyst behind the net, 5 in red, and a lot of it starts there. Merklinger has tried to win his matchup, and he's been unsuccessful. But Timo, they might have to go to the picking game if they can't win a matchup individually.
It's been more than 16 minutes since Richmond last took a shot. Here comes Creo. Defended by O'Berry. Top short stick D-Mitty for UNC. Over to the wing. Comes back to Creo. Now Merklinger.
Carolina really packed in.
Down the alley. Looking to shake Prohaska. Shot clock down to 10. Still no shot. Creo. Missed the cage. Too high. No. Gianfrancaro says he did not get a piece. The officials say he got a piece, and that is a shot clock reset.
Wow, I did not see that.
Now O'Neill defended well by Aschheim. Fresh 60 here for Richmond.
No separation by the Spider Dodgers. Look at this defense, just glued to their hips.
Picard, bounce shot offline. A shot on goal resets the shot clock. So if it hits the goalie or if it goes off the pipe, automatic shot clock reset to 60. O'Neill, tough angle. That one got a piece of the pipe. And Carolina ball. Aschheim closest to it where and when it went out. So Richmond got a few shots on that possession, but still without a goal almost 20 minutes into the game.
Yeah, Carolina's got to feel good about the way they're defending. Empty net.
Empty net, Gianfrancaro. That is a shot. And Matten had the backup, so Carolina retains possession.
Excellent observation by Gio, former Princeton goaltender. Look, this playoff situation, that's not new for him. Back-to-back years, Princeton has played in the NCAA tournament, first-round games. It's been a nice relationship between the veteran goalie with experience and the young defense here in Chapel Hill.
We will see Princeton and Towson next. That is game 2 of 4 on day 1 of 2 here in round 1. Duffy has the short stick, gets top side. Did that go in?
They're saying yes.
It did. A 3-point first half for Owen Duffy, who entered the game in a 1-for-23 shooting slump.
You make the call at home. This ball is going to hit off the crossbar and then bounce into the net and kick out with backspin.
That's a goal.
That's a goal. It's a great call. Look at the official on the right side. He was in perfect position to make this call. Right there. You see him on the right side of your screen? That is textbook, man. What a great, great call by the official who puts himself in position to make the right call. He sees it, and Duffy gets credit.
They will review it. Matty Palem, the head official today.
Andrew Smith, Mike Kleeblatt, on the crew. We spoke to him before the game. You got 8 different crews across the country this weekend. Positioning, so critical for officials. Just put yourself in the right position to make the call, and he is where he needs to be, right on goal line extended. His vision is clear. There's no defenders or attackmen in the way, and he emphatically right away makes the call. There was no hesitation. You could see the Carolina teammate had the best view of it, and he knew it was in the net.
Yeah, Luke Macaluso was right there, 32.
So I'd be shocked if this goal came off the board.
The winner of North Carolina Richmond will get the Cornell.
For the rematch of the college football playoff final.
Well, they ended Jordan Faison's season once. Ohio State will try to do it again. The goal counts, no surprise.
No surprise. So an efficient, patient Carolina offense. A great ride so far. Brady Wambach owning faceoffs, and Michael Gianfacaro locked in between the pipes. That's the formula right now.
Joe Bresci talked about putting pressure on Vigu, who does not face a lot of shots. 19 shots for UNC, 8 on goal.
I think the ride stands out. It was good up in the Dome when they beat Syracuse. They had 8 ride backs that forced 4 goals, and it's good again today. When they're in their ride, their length and speed just makes the field feel small and cramped. It's like it's like an 11-man ride, like they got an extra guy somehow.
It's been a weapon. Teams on the season only clearing at 80% against UNC. There's Andrew Price. Now Macaluso. Macaluso shooting low. Vigu with his 5th save.
Love the move, but he telegraphed the shot, and Vigu was all over that. There was no deception. Got to tell you, I'm impressed with Carolina, though. Going to the bench early in a playoff game with the 4-goal lead. I like that a lot, Anish. Get guys off the bench in the game. Get them a sense. It's a hot day. May's going to be hot the rest of this tournament. You need to play people.
And that was their 3rd midfield out there. Egan, Price, and Macaluso. Richmond still looking for its 1st goal.
They're going to have to go to the pick game if they're going to win matchups, because they're just struggling to run by the guys in the white jerseys.
Lucas Olson, 24 in red, from Calgary, Alberta. Now Sheridan, one of their top Dodgers. Merklinger from X. There's Packard, 2-way midi, gets to the middle, feeds inside. O'Neal had nowhere to go, has to retreat.
Good collapse.
Little John, their top goal scorer. Now Merklinger, defended well.
They got Price, 18 in white, caught on defense. They should.
Shot clock at 8. Olsen gets free, fires, that hit the pipe. Shot clock reset. O'Neal, the backup, fresh 60 for the Spiders. And a timeout by Joe Bresci. UNC pitching on one leg. Not even a full go at practice most days, but today, strong first half. He's had a hand in 3 of the 4 UNC goals.
The right-handed sophomore from Long Island. He's the point guard of this Tar Heel offense, and he's gotten to the net today. He looks relatively healthy. Coach Bresci told us he's only participating in about 30% of practice, but his job as that point guard is to be vocal, to be the coach on the floor, to get his teammates good shots, to pick his spots, and to have that high shooting percentage. And so far, he's been really efficient, really clean with the ball, and Carolina is operating at a level that is sufficient to beat Richmond.
Duffy, a Long Island native, a chance to go home for the quarterfinals with a win. Sheridan, defended by Paul Barton. Dad Harris played offensive line at UNC, won 3 Super Bowls with the 49ers. Now Merklinger, there's a skip pass. Creo couldn't quite catch it flush. Now Olsen. Richmond has not really won a matchup in the 6-on-6. Barton all over Merklinger. Creo, his shot, Gianfrancaro right there. He is 5 for 5. Up ahead to Barton, a threat in transition, 11 career goals. Richmond able to win it back. Dunham on the counter.
No numbers.
Let's see if Richmond pushes. O'Neal. In the past, Dan Shamati's teams have played a slower pace.
Today might not be the day for that, Anish. I got to tell you, the way this offense looks against Carolina's settled defense, today may be the day that actually Richmond needs transition.
Well, what I was going to say, Quint, was this season, though, Richmond in spurts, off face-offs, off turnovers.
They're not winning face-offs.
They've been able to go quickly and strike quickly. Just haven't had those opportunities much today. Alpaw, volume shooter, 13 in red. Merklinger again. A-10 midfielder of the year. There's the slide. Comes back to X. O'Neal has Aschheim hung up. Now Aschheim comes back. Picks up O'Neal. Boy, O'Neal has had very little space to operate. There's Picard. Merklinger on the invert. Spun back to his right, loses the angle, skip pass to the crease of beauty, and Littlejohn gets Richmond on the board.
Spiders finally break the ice. A long extended possession, a wing dodge by Merklinger. Watch a double team, goes right there, goes halfway. Backside's open, they jam it to Lucas Littlejohn, and he breaks the seal, finally getting the ball past Gianfrancaro on the ball movement. Your goalie's got to come to the near post there. When you feed the far post, there's really nothing that Gio could do. But I think if you're Richmond, I'm thinking wing dodges, and I'm thinking maybe some more invert offense. That is, attack from behind.
New face-off man for Richmond, Anthony DeCenzo. And Wambach jumped, so Richmond ball. Quint, given the high degree of difficulty in that pass, if you're Carolina, there's got to be a part of you saying, we'd like to see you keep doing that.
Well, I mean, Richmond's averaging nearly 14 goals a game. Keep in mind, this team scored big-time goal, 11 against Cornell this season, 13 against Virginia, 12 against Duke, 13 against Georgetown. So this is a little bit of an out-of-body experience for them at this point.
What do you attribute that to?
The playoffs. Like, you win your league championship, and there's going to be an emotional outburst. You then have to step up a level in the NCAA tournament, as they are right now against an ACC power, and go on the road. So things are stacked. The cards are stacked against these AQs.
Gianfrancaro with a big save. Littlejohn had another good look.
His best save of the game.
He is 6 out of 7.
Well, Gio comes into this game on a little bit of a slump lately. Last 4 games, he's been about 40%. But that's when you turn to the experience.
Duffy against Hunter Smith. Now picked up by Connor Kelly.
The mindset as a goalie when you're in a slump is that the next save is going to trigger a shutout. That the next save starts this wonderful streak of where you don't give up any goals.
Archbarger sizes up Ryan Thompson, using that speed. On a bounce to Duffy. Duffy looking for the cutter. Still plenty of time on the shot clock.
Carolina's still working the sub portion. They got a break out of the box here.
English coming out of the box. Instead, Petramala holds. 15 to shoot. Petramala has the short stick. Looking to get to that left hand. He does. Thompson got a piece of it.
Good trail check.
Nine to shoot. Duffy looking for Petramala. And now they're going to have to dump this in the corner. And that was awfully close to a delay of game. Got to be careful sometimes when that shot clock is winding down.
Yeah, that matters. The Richmond bench wants the delay call. And if in fact they're respotting the ball in front of the Richmond bench, then it should be a delay call. If they're spotting the ball on the near side where he threw it, then it's not a delay. I don't understand how they're making this call. How they're saying that wasn't a delay of game call and spotting it from where Dom threw the ball.
Because what you're essentially saying is the shot clock violation occurred there. You would get the quick restart there, and Petramala had already thrown the ball out.
He airmailed the ball to different parts of campus.
Every ride feels adventurous. Now the silver lining here for Dan Shamati is, as sloppy as Richmond has been, you score a goal here, it's only 4-2. Carolina had a game with this cadence in April against Notre Dame. They shut out Notre Dame for most of the first half, led 4-1 at the break, and then the Irish scored 11 goals in the second half, ended up winning that game 12-6. Another save for Gene Fricaro, who's been solid in goal for UNC.
Carolina's got some offensive personnel for Richmond caught on the field.
Alpaugh 13 in red. Wilson comes out of the box. Matched by Packard. Wilson swims underneath, backpedals. Wertheim, Duffy, loaded high. 4 points in the opening half for Owen Duffy, who's starting to look like the Owen Duffy we know.
Maybe his dodging will be a little compromised today with that bad knee, but his shooting certainly isn't. Wertheim puts this right on the spot, and what makes this shot so tough, it's in the stick, one cradle, and then it's in the back of the net. It looked like Vigu may have gotten just a tiny piece of that off the top of his goalie stick, but Duffy, from catch to release in a blink of an eye, does not give the goalie much time to find that ball in the pocket, off the lip, and in the air.
Duffy, 2 goals, 2 assists. Colin Hannigan took that faceoff for North Carolina because Wambach violated on the previous one. Richmond able to win possession. Ermklinger scored a goal in 5 straight.
Richmond head coach Dan Chamati and offensive coordinator Colin McGuire, who helps him out. They're looking for answers.
Creo got free and scores. He had a pair of 2-goal games in the A-10 tournament. He's now scored in 7 straight, and it's 5-2.
It's the first time Richmond's really been able to beat him off the dodge. Watch why is the double team slow? Richmond, out of a 1-4-1 set, they've got 2 crease guys, and you know they're going to be slow to leave 27. But I'm just not sure why they didn't bump up from one of those interior spots. Instead, it's Barton, 24, who comes from the wing, and that gives Creo all sorts of time. The sophomore from Rockville Center, Long Island, known for his powerful shot. He may be a little undersized at 5'8", but man, he can blast it.
When we spoke to Richmond goalie Zach Vigu, he said Creo in Vigu's estimation, had the hardest shot on this Richmond team.
Guarantee when Carolina defensive coordinator Dave Petramala breaks that goal down at halftime, it'll come down to poor communication defensively.
There's Wilson. Shoots from the outside. It's going to be Richmond ball. Remember, it's who's closest when the ball goes out of bounds and where, and that may have gotten there after Vigu.
9.5-man ride. Gianfrancaro, now it's a 10-man. Gianfrancaro's out of the net about 15 yards.
Vigu with a Mangonel pass to Merklinger. Tiptoeing the sideline. Thompson. A minute to play. Richmond looking to close to within 2. Carolina led 4-0. Get the sense, Quint, the Spiders are finding their feet here.
Finding their identity. That's a key for all playoff teams this year. You know, there's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of pressure. You got to play your game. Stick to who you are, what got you here. Find your identity.
Creo had the last goal. Guarded by Hagerup. Sheridan against Koopman.
Man-to-man defense with a kind of a quick adjacent double team from Carolina.
25 seconds. Creo again. O'Neal, top scorer, A-10 Offensive Player of the Year. Asheim's defended him well. Here's the skip. Sheridan. 6 seconds. That pass picked off. Asheim flips it upfield, right back to Vigu. And that's how the first half ends. Carolina's defense and Carolina's ride ruled in the first 30 minutes.
Their specialists, Brady Wambach and goalie Michael Gianvaccaro, have been absolutely locked in. That last possession, Andrew O'Berry making a great slide. I tell you, all the 6 parts of the Carolina defense are operating at a high level. You hold a team like Richmond to 2 goals in the first half. That is the story of this game.
UNC 5, Richmond 2. 30 minutes of the second half. Goalie Michael Gianfrancaro, the Princeton transfer, a tone setter early.
Tell you, last 3 games, he's been sub 50%. Today, not the case. 7 saves, only 2 goals against, and that's the mindset of an elite goalie. It's the next shot that matters. His positioning has been perfect. He's taken a lot of body stops, and then you see his athletic ability. He can move. He's not the biggest cat in the world, but that's where he's at his best. He springs out of the goal and gets the ground ball.
Owen Duffy, meanwhile, 2 goals, 2 assists in that first half.
That's 4 involvement in 4 out of the 5 Tar Heel goals. Look, his toolbox, there's no shortage. Whether it's speed dodges, acceleration, mid-range shots, the vision, he's put it all together. Now, keep in mind, he's not 100%. You see that wrap, and he kind of bouncing gingerly on that right knee.
Jared Chinoy wins the opening faceoff of the third quarter for Richmond, so a good start for the Spiders. This is a team, again, on an 8-game win streak. They pushed Duke to double overtime. They beat Georgetown. They had a 6-1 lead on Cornell. Led Cornell by 3 in the fourth quarter. They've played Maryland. They've won at Virginia. Program that's only been around since 2014. A strong case that this team is the best that Richmond has had. Merklinger was the top midfielder in the A-10. Spins it back to O'Neal at X. He's the quarterback of the offense and Offensive Player of the Year in the conference. Creo with one of the 2 goals for Richmond. He scored in 7 straight. Picked up by Salucci, the freshman.
Ball movement looks better. Their spacing is wider also.
Merklinger working on Prohaska. Salucci coming over to help. Olsen with 15, fires and scores. The Calgary, Alberta native pulls Richmond to within 2.
Spider fans erupt. Obvious adjustments, wider spreads. And what does that mean? Well, when Carolina doubles on the far wing, It's a long way to recover to the near side, and Lucas Olson's got all sorts of real estate. He gets to dodge the approach, and in that case, the approach was so late, he just pulls up, and the senior out of Calgary bags that goal from about 10 yards. Much better looking possession for the Spiders.
Olson, a second team all-conference selection. Wambach and Chinoy do battle. And scooped up by the speedy Parker Hoffman. And did he step out of bounds? He did. Richmond ball. They got a chance here. Here's Stull to Littlejohn. Doorstep dunk. Along come the Spiders. It's a one-goal game.
Two things stand out here. Hustle. Right here, they get the turnover and then restart ready. Stull stays on the field. He's one of Tommy Stull, 40 in red, the captain, is one of my favorite players in the entire country. He comes out of piles with the lacrosse ball. He makes great decisions. Littlejohn bails him out and makes a really insaneful, skillful catch and beats Gio from point-blank range. Back-to-back goals out of halftime. Here come the Spiders.
Yeah, this game for North Carolina may start to feel eerily reminiscent of the Notre Dame game back on the 19th of April. Carolina had a 4-1 lead going into the second half. Next thing you know, it's a 12-6 Irish win.
Look at the compete level now. It's ratcheted up for both teams.
We talked to Zach Vigue, the Richmond goalie. He said after the Cornell game, this one is on the empty net, and it's going to go to Richmond. Farrell closest to the ball, where and when it went out. Zach Vigue telling us that being up 6-1 on Richmond and then watching, or on Cornell, and watching how Cornell then finished its season, that gave this team confidence that they can go not only play with anybody, they can go beat anybody. They felt they had that Cornell game up 11-8 at one point in the fourth quarter. A chance to get even here.
The balance in each for these athletes. This is an elimination game. There is no tomorrow. And that can lead to stress and tension and hesitancy. And you got to put that aside and just put the pedal to the metal.
Outpaw casts a big shadow. 6'5" from Darien, Connecticut. O'Neal looking to get on the board. Defended by Aschheim.
Don't worry about outcomes. Worry about effort.
Packard, two-way midi. Skip pass to the wing. Picard tries to track it down. No flag. Now somebody lost a glove. Feed inside. Littlejohn! A hat trick for Lucas Littlejohn and a brand new ball game. Richmond, a 3-0 spurt to open the second half.
We're going to have to see this again. 88 for Carolina. Chase Salucci loses his glove on the ground ball. Makes a diving play. His glove comes off and squirts up top. Look at the Carolina defense. They're distracted by it. And somehow they lose the man inside. They've done a wonderful job thus far covering the crease. And Lucas Littlejohn, there's no custody on that play.
Well, you got to remember, Quint, you lose a glove, you can't play without equipment. That's a penalty. And Joe Bresci sensing the Spider avalanche calls a timeout. 3 goals in less than 2 minutes. We're back to where we started. Program history. They launched lacrosse in 2014, made the NCAA tournament in their first season. They've made the tournament 6 times. We're going to get a loose ball hold on UNC. And Richmond, over the last few years, they've had some close calls. They pushed Duke to within a goal in 2019. They had Penn dead to rights a few years ago, had a lead in the final minute. Penn ties it and then wins in overtime over at Franklin Field in Philly. Today, Carolina had a 4-0 lead. Richmond, 4 unanswered, 3 in the second half.
Richmond's legacy tied to this game. They want to be the group that wins that first playoff game.
Sheridan, kick save. Gianfrancaro clamps down. And now here comes UNC. Quint, for a lot of the Richmond seniors, their first game came against UNC on this field. A loss to Carolina in 2022.
This is an important possession for North Carolina. This is really their first possession of the third quarter.
UNC only has one goal since the 10-minute mark of the second quarter. English spin cycle. Duffy double teamed. Able to hang on. Gets away from Stull. Duffy to Matten. Carolina catches its breath. Petramala loses Pilling. Gets to his left hand. Vignew the save. And Stull had the rebound before dumping it back to Vignew.
Dom Petramala, an underrated Dodger and a lethal shooter sweeping across the top of the formation.
Richmond pedaling downhill in the second half. Was it stage fright, nerves early on for Richmond?
You'd have to ask him yourself, Anish, but we see that happening. You know, there's a lot involved when you win your AQ. There's this emotional outburst. There's a celebration. Hey, we're league champs. Well, the reality is you got to step up a level in competition and go on the road to continue to give life to your season.
The 6'5" Alpaw. 11 goals on the season. Little John, 27 in red, has 3 today.
Just see it in their footwork and their stick work.
Merklinger. He loves that roll back. Instead, he'll play it up top. Picard. Shot clock inside of 10. Crease feed, intercepted O'Berry. A Harvard transfer who's become UNC's top shorty. Nothing easy for Carolina in this second half.
It's a really solid ground ball play by James Matten, 7 in white, who comes across the midfield line. He realized he could because Koopman, the long stick midi, was already over the line.
Richmond has won 8 in a row. North Carolina last played a little more than a week ago in Charlotte. Fell to Duke in the ACC tournament semifinal. Duffy against Hunter Smith. Top side, missed the cage. Official looking for help. We got a flag down on the far side.
Coach, he was shooting. Red 6, unnecessary. 1 minute, reset to 60.
That is Hunter Smith, co-defensive player of the year in the A-10, along with St. Joe's Levi Birch.
Crease slide, high and late. Should have been against 91.
Yeah, that's Braden Penafeather Stevenson.
And they have the right guy in the penalty box as Smith is still on the field. If you're defending this Carolina extra man group, 77 in white on the near side, the lefty Dom Petramala is your primary focus.
3 man-up goals on the season. Penafeather Stevenson in the box. Carolina on the season 41% with the extra man. Duffy to English. Back to Duffy. Now Suchek, the freshman. Duffy to Reedy. Petramala drops it in off the beautiful touch pass.
Insane execution. They're working the right-handed side. Skip, double skip, tic-tac-toe. They just slice and dice this defense with precision passing doesn't get any easier for Dom Petramala.
10th assist of the season for Reedy, who's been a weapon on the extra man as an assist man. That goal ending a scoring drought of 10+ minutes. Wambach wins the faceoff. Carolina will try to play make it, take it. Carolina has to get it across midfield before that shot clock hits 60. Gianfrancaro out of the cage. This is going to be close. He gets across. He's still going. Gianfrancaro all the way. Save Vigu. And now an empty net. Here comes Richmond with the counter. Gianfrancaro chugging back across the midfield line. Off the stick of Littlejohn. Salucci picks it up. Carolina catches it. Catches a break. Gianfrancaro catches his breath.
The fans loving the chaos. Vigu made an outstanding save on Gianfrancaro. Michael Gio has a burst of speed.
Is that on your bingo card?
He's a big-time athlete. Okay.
Cue.
You'll see another goalie like that, Anderson Moore, tonight at Georgetown. These guys are great lacrosse players who just happen to be goalies.
You played goalie. Gianfrancaro running back downfield with a live ball. What's going through his head?
Just try to get back in the crease as fast as possible. The hard part is you're running back in East, but you got to look over your shoulder to keep your eye on the ball. So it's like impossible to run fast.
Duffy. Levy fires offline.
Zone defense for Richmond. Levy left in front.
How does Carolina attack the zone?
Paul Richards told us that he's going to mix and match zone and man. You got to attack seams of the zone defense. Someone's got to press a seam and draw two. Kick it, then kick the ball to the adjacent.
Duffy gets through the middle and scores. A hat trick for Owen Duffy.
Feels like the tempo of this game is picked up. Here's Gio running down the middle of the field. Look at his speed, two-handed cradle, parting of the C right there. He gets through, and a great save by Vigu down low. I mean, that ball was heading to the corner. Now Gio's got to get back in the goal. He does. Richmond goes zone, and Duffy, what he does well there is he catches it and moves his feet. It's as if he kind of turns the corner against the short stick, who's positioned in the middle of that zone defense, and Carolina capitalizes. Duffy's had a monster game.
He's had a hand in 5 of UNC's 7. Chinoy and Wambach tied up. Richmond had it for a moment. Hoffman gets mauled.
Wow, that's playoff lacrosse right there. That's playoff lacrosse, Anish. And this tempo and intensity has ratcheted up noticeably since halftime.
The UFC 315 tonight at the Bell Center in Montreal. The prelims begin at 8 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Plus. Main card at 10 Eastern on pay-per-view. Buy it at espnplus.com/ppv. There is Joe Sheridan. He's their top dodger. Fires on the run. Merklinger has the backup. Sheridan without a goal today. He scored in 9 straight. 3 tallies in the A-10 championship against High Point. Merklinger defended by Hagerup. A quiet game for him until now.
He is the energy guy, and his bread and butter is the rollback. He can play attack, he can play midfield, and being two-handed, ambidextrous, gives him the ability to go in both directions. He rolls back left-handed and somehow doesn't get blown up. Watch this double team. Watch him elude this double team right there at the last second and free up his stick. and he beats Gio to the near post. A perfect shot. Gio's thinking stick side high or stick side low. He edges off the post. And Merklander, Mr. Energy for this team. He's the barometer player. When they're playing well, his name's all over the score sheet.
A senior and head coach Dan Shamati says, we go as he goes. Hoffman lightning quick. All the way, fires and scores. Parker Hoffman, goal number 6 on the season, and the answer comes in an eye blink.
Former Fogo in high school, but because of his speed and his ability on ground balls, Joe Bresci has utilized him from the wing. And look at the burst. I mean, he is super fast, and he has had an impact now. You talk about his goal totals. This is a Carolina team that has not scored much in transition with their short stick defensive middies going from D to O, but they can sting you off the face-off. And every time Richmond makes a statement in this game, there's Carolina fighting back.
Parker Hoffman played his high school ball at Boys Latin. Is that still your haberdasher?
I've moved on to the Garrison Forest School.
Okay.
We ran into Boys Latin former head coach Bob Shriver.
A legendary Bob Shriver.
He's talking about an attack unit that he coached once. Pat Spencer, Matt Brandow, Logan Wisnauskas. And they couldn't win the title.
Incredible.
With that attack. High school.
Yeah.
That's a high school attack.
A couple of Tewaaraton winners. Here comes Brevin Wilson. Now Petramala. 2 goals today. Feeding inside. Reedy snuffed out by Vigu. 9 saves for Zach Vigu. Now Richmond, second nationally in clearing against this ferocious Carolina ride. Packard hits the turbo, fires on the run. 1-goal game in Chapel Hill.
Little Guns N' Roses patience by the goaltender. Watch how he waits this out and manages to hold his line. We talked to Zach this week, and he says he likes to play on that deep line, and that comes to his benefit. Packard capitalizing. Barton, 24 and white, got really aggressive on the ride and tried for the double team and the turnover creation in front of the Richmond bench. And Packard is a great athlete, would have none of it, and showed his speed.
Packard was an offensive midfielder last year, played on the second midfield, scored 7 goals. This year, they needed him to play 2 ways, and he's been that guy. Chinoy out of the scramble. Jared Chinoy, a senior. His first career game as a freshman came against North Carolina on this field, was 8 for 22, but he has turned into a pretty good one for Dan Shamati.
Yeah, the bench, Richmond bench, really liked that face-off win. It shows, you know, Chinoy, things haven't gone his way in the first half against Wambach, but so what? Again, we move on.
UNC had won 6 of the previous 7 face-offs. Packard stings the top shelf. We're tied at 8. Charlie Packard, 1 goal all season, 2 in the last, 30 seconds?
Sophomore from Hingham, Mass. Has the Spider fans on their feet. A split right to left. Whoop. Strong plant foot. Little hesitation move. Does it again right to left and nails the corner. Again, this guy played defensive midfield for most of the season. He's good enough and skilled enough to play at both ends. But the energy is the question mark for a coach. I don't want to burn him out. So they let him play some offensive midfield last week against High Point in the league championship game. He had a goal. That hot streak continues.
Officially 2 goals in 39 seconds. DeCenzo taking the face-off for Richmond. And a possession for Carolina. 3:01 to go, 3rd quarter. UNC led 4-0. Richmond pulled even at 5-5. Carolina scored 3 of the next 4. And now the Spiders have pulled even at 8 apiece. Richmond has never led. English absorbs the hit. Duffy draws the slide back to English. Harshberger gets inside, shoots low. Vigu turns it away. Rebound, Suchek, fresh 60 for Carolina. Duffy fitting inside. One more to Reedy. 9-8 UNC coming up with an answer every time Richmond starts to make a run.
Reedy from English from Duffy. Owen Duffy's ability to attack the defense at all different spots, whether it's behind the net from the wing or up top, and he draws the double team. They kick it to Ty English, the passer, the midi. You'll see 23 catch this at goal line extended. Whoop, little quick stick inside. That is gorgeous, and they capitalize on the Richmond double team of Duffy. So Duffy draws the crowd. He's the distractor. He creates, and the others, Reedy, doing a nice job with the finish.
Stoll off the wings, the senior captain.
And he's that last goal. That's a classic hockey assist for a guy like Duffy. Shows up nowhere in the stat sheet. If you get some advanced analytics, occasionally you can get access to that. The teams track it, but the doubles drawn and hockey assist are huge offensive stats.
Olsen, Creo, and now Sheridan in the midfield for Richmond. Olsen passed up on the step down. Aiden O'Neill has been quiet today. Church Mouse quiet. Richmond is leading scorer, 5 in red. Creo matched by Salucci. Impressive freshman campaign for 88 in white. Carolina lost its best defender, Peter Toman, before the season started. And this group under Dave Petromala's tutelage has been a strong unit. That shot low, Gianfrancaro the save. Salucci, Prohashka, and Ashheim. For most of the season, this has been a top 10 scoring defense.
They lost Peter Toman in the preseason to a knee injury.
There's Duffy. We haven't seen that kind of burst from Duffy in a few weeks.
Shot clock, game clock right now is what they're trying to figure out. Carolina will try to end this quarter with a goal or possession.
Duffy's been the maestro. Duffy, top side, missed the cage. Richmond to the backup. Spiders with a chance to tie. 13 seconds, third quarter. Farrell. Merklinger puts one on cage. Scores! Merklinger gives the crowd a little something to get excited for. The Richmond contingent. And we're tied at 9 with 2.6.
This is a disaster if you're Michael Gianfrancaro in the goal. You let this ball play you and you step laterally, not at the ball. You've got to go attack this ball and scoop it up like a shortstop would scoop up a grounder. You've got to move towards that ball, attack it, and if it does take a big hop, it's going to hop up and hit you in the chest or the face mask. He let that ball play himself. And Merklinger scores from what, 25 yards?
Outside of the restraining area, or outside of the restraining line, in the restraining area. Tommy Stoll taking this face off. The long pole, and his job was to tie up Wambach long enough. He does. Richmond with a 7-goal explosion in the third quarter. A tie game as we head to the final 15 minutes of regulation. May Madness just getting started.
People thought Richmond would win this game. In fact, Joe Bresci, Carolina coach, using that as motivation all week.
Yeah, Richmond had a legitimate case to host a first-round game. Now, that last seed line came down to North Carolina, Richmond, and Notre Dame. UNC gets the home game. But you look at history. In 9 of the last 13 NCAA tournaments, the 8th seed has lost in round 1. Duffy looking for Reedy, who's coming around the corner. It's a turnover instead. Duffy has played well today. 3 goals, 2 assists.
Hockey assist on that last Carolina goal. And he clearly understands right now, Anish, that when he presses to the net, he's drawing that early double team, that early slide from Richmond. And so his ability as a passer, especially from in front of the net, may be a deciding factor here in the fourth quarter.
Again, Richmond, they may have come out of the A-10 where they went undefeated in conference play, but they played a heavyweight non-conference schedule, beat Georgetown, beat Virginia, lost by a goal to Cornell, lost by a goal in double overtime to Duke, and opened the season against Maryland. Looking for its first lead. Picard over to Creo. Sheridan from the wing dumps it back to O'Neal. Merklinger. He had the Hail Mary goal before the end of the third. Spins back to his left. Good defense by Prohashka.
Man-to-man D for North Carolina.
Spin move Picard. Feed inside. Creo bounce shot a little too high. O'Neal digs it out. 13 to shoot.
Carolina double teaming from the crease.
Here comes the junior from Cape Cod using the pick from Creo. O'Neal, the skip pass. Shot clock at 4. Shot clock at 1. And that is a shot clock violation on Richmond.
Be interesting to see what Dan Chamati, now Richmond head coach, does on the ride.
Looks like about a 9.5-man ride. No, 10-man ride. Goalie out of the cage.
Way out of the cage. Way out of the cage.
Salucci launches. And the back up to Farrell. So Carolina took the bait. Took a shot on the empty net. Richmond had the backup. Vigu now out of the cage. Broken stick for Duffy. Richmond with a chance to take its first lead of the game. UNC had jumped out to a 4-0 lead. At the very top of the broadcast, we said, if this tournament is anything like the regular season, it's got a chance to be delightfully chaotic. Well, here we are. Merklinger looking to shake Prohaska. Alpaw's got a hammer. Packard 2 goals today, 3 on the season. Alpaw dumps it to Packard, shot clock at 15. Now it goes back to X. O'Neal looking to get on the board. Aschheim all over him. O'Neal looking for Alpaw. This one trickling toward midfield. It's going to be a shot clock violation. At least it should. It is.
Second consecutive shot clock violation earned by the Carolina defense.
Hagerup triggers the restart. 11.5 to play. Tied at 9. Quarter number 4. Winner on to the quarterfinals to take on either Cornell or Albany on Long Island next week. Quarterfinal rounds will be Saturday in Hempstead and then Sunday in Annapolis. Harshberger against Pilling. Best short stick D midi for Richmond. Reedy's been an impact guy. Duffy hesitates, draws the slide, skips it to English. Back to Duffy.
This is a problem.
He's got a short stick. Where and when does the slide come? There's the help from Dunham. Suchek, the freshman, missed the cage. It will stay with Carolina. Reedy, the backup, 21 to shoot.
Owen Duffy, Aiden White, when he goes to the goal, he's drawing 2 and 3 defenders.
Petramala, there's a lyricism to that left-handed shot. He goes to the right. Bigu the save. Suchek comes up with it. It gives Carolina a fresh 60. Suchek on the invert. Plays it back to English. Arshberger drawing attention. Petramala fires and scores. Carolina retakes the lead. A hat trick for Dom Petramala.
Operating on the opposite wing, what makes this goal so difficult for goalie Zach Bigu is there's a little hesitation. Watch the head of the shooter, and the body language says he's going to take that left-handed overhand and jam it down low 5-hole, and just the hands drop for a second. It's tough. As a goalie, you're reading all the whole picture while trying to find the ball, and everything said he was going to go low with that. You see him tilt his hat down low, but the ball comes up over the shoulder and head of the goaltender. Great deception by Dom Petro.
48 goals for Petramala. UNC single season school record is 50 by Luke Goldstock. Big face off. Won by Richmond. Penafeather Stevenson. Richmond has been climbing uphill all game. At 5-5, at 8-8, and 9-9. Looking to get even again at 10-10. They've never led. Spiders hunting their first NCAA tournament win in program history. Lucas Littlejohn. Goal number 4, and we are tied for the 4th time today.
This is a little set piece that Richmond likes to run. Carry across underneath. You see Littlejohn vacates from the crease out to the wing. His man is in he's in the slide position, so his man steps upfield and he peels to the outside. A little seam pass and one touch. Really good off-ball play by Littlejohn. Man, he is a nightmare to cover. The sophomore from Ontario started this season when we had that Virginia game in East. He was a midi that was scoring a ton of goals in the crease, and they said, you know what? We're going to play you at attack, and it's worked to perfection.
He's top 15 nationally in shooting percentage. We're going to get a push. It's on Carolina, Richmond ball, or on Richmond, Carolina ball. 40 goals on the season now for Lucas Littlejohn. How much does Duffy have left in the tank?
Yeah, talking to Dave Petramala about covering Littlejohn. You flirt with, well, let's just face guard him, and you'll be out of the slide rotation. You see that with like a Jake Taylor at Notre Dame, some of those great crease players. They change the way you can slide and recover on defense.
Suchek picked up by Smith. 6 and 17 in red. 2 premier close defenders for Richmond. Arshberger calling for it. Now gets it. Spins back to his right.
Duffy's got a short stick if they get the ball behind the net right now, on the right side of the offense. And that, yep, they switched off. But every time Duffy, Aiden White, has gone to the net, he's drawn 2 or 3 Richmond defenders. I think he's a great party starter.
Eyes up for Harshbarger. Dislodged.
Oh,
that's a turnover. Over and back. Quick restart. A chance for Richmond to take the lead. Merklinger. One more. O'Neal. Gene Fricaro the save. Flag down.
That entire play was a disaster for North Carolina. Fumbling and bumbling the ball up at the midfield line leads to a 3-on-2 break. going to be a foul against North Carolina. Is it a... Well, let's listen to Matt Palin.
Light 88. 30. Push.
It's on Salucci, a push with possession.
Here comes Richmond on the 3-on-2 off this ground ball win right there on the restart. Lucas Littlejohn holds the ball up. The officials blow the whistle. Right here's your 3-on-2. Pass wasn't to perfection, and there's the obvious penalty.
Carolina has struggled with its man-down defense this season.
It's good hustle, quite honestly. And Anish, what are you going to do? Like, you lay off there, and you're going to give up a goal. So, cannot criticize that defensive effort. You love it, in fact.
Opponent scoring at a 41% clip when Carolina's been man down, but Richmond has struggled with the man up. Only 25%. Olsen, 24 in red, has 5 of Richmond's 12 man-up goals this season. He's got it now.
I got to rotate here.
Merklinger fakes the pass. That one hit the crossbar. Leo Kane, the lefty, the junior. 1 second remaining on the extra man. English runs on. We're back to full strength for Carolina. 7.5 to go, tied at 10. Lucas Littlejohn, the sophomore from Canada, 4 goals today.
Ty English plays on that man-down team for Carolina, 23 in white. An excellent defensive midfielder, so there's no matchups for Richmond to capitalize on.
They might have one here. Sheridan's got a shorty, draws the slide. Creo, one more. Olsen, step down, and the Spiders take their first lead. Spiders, a little more than 7 minutes away from their first NCAA tournament win. Here's the go-ahead goal.
Double team drawn, defense rotates, and then they have to recover from the crease out. And that long approach gives the ball carrier, in this case it was number 24, Lucas Olsen, a lot of opportunities. He can choose to pump fake and dodge to the net, but he says, hey, I got about a 12-yard look here. Hands free, feet set, time, room, bullseye. And Richmond now has their first lead. You gotta love, Anish, you gotta love the drama and the tension that we've seen now in this fourth quarter.
Yeah, Richmond went, what, 24, 25 minutes before getting on the board in this game. Only had 2 goals in the entire first half. 9 since halftime. Big boy face-off battle. Chinoy and Wambach stole, scoops off the wings. The senior captain over to Pilling. One-handed pass, Merklinger. Richmond will attack early off a face-off win, but it's not there.
Nice handle.
You know, Quint, the other thing that's been impressive, Richmond has taken the lead. Their best offensive player, Aiden O'Neill.
Nothing.
No points.
0-0. The attack's been a little quiet, Anish. It's mostly been midfield offense. And what they found out is spread out, attack one wing, and they get some ball redirection outside. 27 on the crease area. Lucas Littlejohn has been a menace.
Creo dumps it to Sheridan. Olsen, who scored the go-ahead goal, plays it back to Sheridan.
Carolina's pressing out it behind the net also, kind of funneling the ball in front.
Olsen attacking O'Berry. Now Merklinger, senior captain. Shaded by Prohashka. Shot clock at 12. Here's O'Neill. Creo, hard shot. Shot clock at 2, but Carolina has the backup. So the Heels have it with 5:40, trailing for the first time today.
If you're Richmond, you've learned the lesson this year not to sit on leads, that you've got to finish. And in the era of the shot clock, you cannot take your foot off the gas pedal. Dan Chamati and his team, they learned that against Cornell this season. They learned, almost paid the price in a Georgetown game. They led 12-5 and they won 13-12. Finishing is everything. Don't look at the clock. Keep trying to score.
Carolina breaks the Richmond press. Duffy and Petramala, 6 of the 10 goals for Carolina. Those two have been one of the top tandems in Division I all season. Duffy 3 goals, 2 assists. He's got it now.
He draws an immediate double team, Anish.
There's the double. There's the caused turnover.
Well, that's
Richmond's
a big
two
one.
best poles, Dunham and Smith, collapsed, and now Vigu sets up the clear.
It's a huge clear right now.
UNC in its 10-man ride. Gianfrancaro out of the cage. Now retreats in.
Tell you, how about the double team by Mitchell Dunham, the grad student, 6'5", 200. He got picked up in the PLL draft. Hamilton, Ontario, transfer from Mount St. Mary's, the big lefty, number 17. He picks off passes. He makes plays. None bigger than that last one.
3rd nationally in caused turnovers. In a game against Georgetown this year, had 5 caused turnovers, 6 ground balls, inside roll, shot, score! The freshman Daniel Picard. A 2-goal lead for Richmond, and that feels massive right now.
All day long, I thought, when is Richmond going to go to their invert game? That is attacking with midfielders behind the net. Pickard from Pleasantville, New York, a freshman, bright future. Good speed up top with his north-south dodge. There you see it with the classic inside roll. Carolina a beat late on the double team, and Gio bites on the low fake. A humongous, humongous goal for the Atlantic 10 all-rookie team member.
Joe Bresci and the Heels staring perhaps into the twilight of their season. Chenoy kicked the face-off out of bounds, a break for UNC.
Diving effort from Wambach earns that possession.
You know, Quint, the last possession telling Duffy touches the ball. Richmond's top 2 poles converge.
Yeah, exactly. I like that as the initiation, because you're going to guarantee a double, if not triple team. And then if he can spin it, I think good things will happen.
Farrell defending Petramala. English a skip pass to Harshbarger. Gets inside, shot, save, Vigu. Ball is loose near the crease. Vigu, the native of Apex, North Carolina, just outside of Raleigh. Grew up coming to UNC games.
Trouble right here.
Farrell heaves it downfield. Did he step out of bounds? He did. UNC ball. 3:17 left. Richmond clinging to a 2-goal lead. And a timeout is called. Your official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. For more information, go to ncaa.com. All right, Quint, 3:17 to go, 4th quarter. What do these last few minutes come down to for both teams?
If you're Dan Chamati, you're talking about communication right now, getting your matchups right off the dead ball. The decision is zone or man.
Yes, 2 hands. All right, speed up that cradle. In and out. You got that, sir. You get an absolute
Winner of this game will play the Cornell-Albany winner on Long Island. Richmond has never won an NCAA tournament game. Carolina back in the tournament for the first time since 2021. Your UNC, if you're going to go down, you're probably going to go down with Duffy and Petramala.
Anish, keep it simple. It's got to be Owen Duffy as an isolator. I would like to see him on the right wing, draw the double team. You either kick it to X, Levy perhaps, or up top, Ty English perhaps, and then you pass it one more to the left-hand side where Dom Petramala is there with the hammer. So those two guys have to figure in this play. Duffy has been an instant double team. I mean, there's a lot of good offense that can come with number 8 pressing the net.
And the one ace in the hole for North Carolina, Brady Wambach. You score a goal, you get to within 1. Wambach 16 of 24 today. He's been one of the best face-off men in the country all season.
Now the question for Paul Richards, Richmond's defensive coordinator, do you come out man or zone? What they're showing right now is man-to-man defense. So you have to identify that as an offense.
Levy to trigger. His childhood friend, Richmond goalie Zach Vigue.
Levy, a strong lefty.
A senior captain. Working a two-man game with Duffy. Duffy able to salvage the possession. Working on Hunter Smith, co-defensive player in the A-10. Now back to Levy. Gets underneath. Shoveled. Wide. It will stay with North Carolina. Hustled that time by Ryan Thompson of Richmond. Almost got the Spiders the ball. Duffy measures Smith. Wilson sets the pick. It works. Duffy has the short stick. Skip pass. Wertheim face dodge. Roll back. Plenty of time to shoot, but 2:30 left. Duffy, there's the double. Carolina has a timeout. Levy down the alley, shoots. It comes to Smith. Here's Richmond the other way. They've got numbers. Pilling. Littlejohn. O'Neal, bounce shot wide. Merklinger the backup. And now Richmond will play the clock.
That shot going wide is actually a positive result for Richmond.
We're going to get a timeout from Joe Bresci. You're down 2 goals. This is the season, 2:09 to go. Richmond has almost a full shot clock at 70. Are you doubling right away? Are you pulling the goalie right away?
With the ball behind the net, Anish, I think you can take a chance here and double right away. If this ball restart was in front of the goal, obviously the player on the whistle can shoot it and has an empty net. So if you're going to double, you're going to do it right away right here with that ball in the corner. It's advantageous defensively. You can really do a pinch double team and pin this ball carrier in the corner.
The Richmond Spiders, they've been in this spot before. Go back to the playoff game against Penn a few years ago. Richmond was right there, had the lead in the final minute. Ben Smith tied it for Penn, and then Ben Smith won it in overtime. Richmond in 2019 pushed Duke to within a goal in round 1. A chance for a breakthrough for the Spider program. But don't count Carolina out. You got 2:09 to go.
Look, these are scenarios that you practice throughout the course of the season. With a 2-goal margin, I think Joe Bresci has to be aggressive right here. If it were 1 goal, you could maybe sit back for 70 seconds. But with a 2-goal deficit, you can't allow Richmond to take 70 seconds of this game, and they'd be content to kill the shot clock and throw the ball into the corner. So the double team will be applied early and often. What's critical on these double teams, like bookends, okay? The defenders want to sandwich the ball carrier like bookends. Sticks to the outside, and don't give that exit lane to the outside. Make the ball carrier come between the double team.
So Gianfrancaro right now is on the offensive half of the field.
Yeah, every team needs a designated goalie with a throw protector and a goalie stick on the field.
So that means Carolina can get another traditional defender on the defensive side.
Parker Hoffman's on the field because of his speed, and here comes the double team in the corner.
Merklinger initiates. Prohashka and Salucci corner him. Merklinger, dangerous pass. Littlejohn can't handle it. Big ground ball. Littlejohn had it. Carolina's got numbers. Richmond has a timeout, and they use it.
How about that ground ball play by Lucas Littlejohn? He's not the fastest cat in the world, but he got undercut on that, and that could have been a foul. The ref's letting him play, and Littlejohn, the sophomore from Ontario, let me tell you, the guys north of the border, they can scoop ground balls. They throw the ball here. It's a one-on-one. Right there is the submarine. Has his legs undercut. No call. Again pushed to the turf. What does he do? He gets right back up, and with 2 Tar Heels all over him, count 3 now, somehow The ground ball. Lucas Littlejohn gets possession. An amazing play.
May have saved the season. Both teams now out of timeout. So, repeat and refresh.
Yeah, 59 seconds to go on the shot clock. Ball once again in the corner.
Do you change anything if you're Carolina?
I get the feeling that Richmond doesn't have a ball carrier that can split the double team. You know, I think about guys at Carolina like Chris Gray or Bitter and Sankey, you know, who could scoot away from a double team. I think about one down the road in Jordan Wolf, who did that to win a national championship for Duke. Richmond doesn't have that type of cat on their roster, so they're going to have to pass this ball out of the double team. One thing you can do is pick off ball, rub two, almost like a rub route in football, where you're running two offensive players off two defensive players to try to gain some leverage or an edge.
Without a timeout, is there a fail-safe for Richmond if things start to go off script and get a little hairy?
Maintain field balance here with your midfielders. That is 3 across the top and drop towards the midfield line. If in doubt, those players do not challenge the ground ball or slide or move upfield. They retreat into the hole to stop transition. Okay, worst case scenario is a turnover. So what? We get back and we play defense. You're also going to probably see some two-way personnel on the field. Tommy Stull's in for Richmond. You've got some short stick defensive midfielders now playing midfield in Ryan Thompson.
So if you do turn it over, you've got your defensive personnel.
Personnel without a sub. Charlie Packard's on the field, right near the subs, right near our box.
So you saw Gianfrancaro, he's on the offensive half. There's the double on the ball right away. Creo trying to play keep away on his feet. Takes a shot to the head. Creo near the crease. 1:45 to go. Creo will take the dunk. A 3-goal lead for Richmond. It's 13-10. And now for Carolina to have a chance, Brady Wambach has to be Hercules.
Wow, the fans and the team can sense something historic is going down. How about Gavin Creo? His speed. He was a human pinata. He got pegged in the head 3 times on that dodge and somehow makes his way to the empty net.
$11 goals for Richmond in the second half. A 4-0 run after Carolina took a 10-9 lead. Chinoy and Wambach. Chinoy wins the faceoff ahead. Richmond can see the finish line. Gianfrancaro in cage. The Spiders on the verge of knocking off UNC. Now the goalie's out. Merklinger near the end line, in trouble, dislodged, loose ball. It's on the ground. Salucci had it for a moment, can't scoop it up clean. Popped into the ear to English. 1:10 to go. Carolina able to get it back. Down 3. Here's Petramala. Less than a minute to go, using the pick from English. English fires high. Vigu, the A-10 goalkeeper of the year, patrolling the cage for Richmond. And Packard is slow to get up. Now limping off. .50 seconds to go. Duffy will start. On the whistle.
Guard this inside out. You better find 77 in white.
Carolina's got to go quickly. Duffy. Feed to Matten. His shot partially altered. The back up to UNC. Precious seconds ticking off. Duffy again. Trying to get top side. He's hit. We're going to get a loose ball hold on Richmond. Back to Carolina. 33.9 remaining. Richmond up by 3 in a game that they trailed 4-0 and 5-1. Suchek over to Duffy, lost his stick. English picks it up. 25 seconds. Duffy gets a stick. English trail check. Able to hold on. Knocked loose on the ground. Stole. The senior captain corrals for Richmond. The Richmond fans on their feet. The Spiders come to Chapel Hill, knock off North Carolina, and Richmond scores its first